We have a variety of different influences that feed in. I mean, to me, it's an incredibly magical process writing a book, because it comes, as you say, it comes to you. It knocks on the door, it says.
Sometimes, and other times you're chasing it down the alley saying, wait, come here, you scamp.
Exactly. Or just lopping off entire limbs and throwing them out because they're rotten. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a specific question about your process. Both of our books have a sort of framed story. They go back and forth between two times. And in the beginning, Peter is an old man who's being interviewed so that there will be a chronicle of what happened. And in my case, I have the contemporary writer who's written this book about the painter. But I was wondering where that structure came in your thinking about the book. From the beginning, did you know you wanted to mediate the story of Gutenberg and the creation of the first Bible with some sort of frame, or did it seem necessary at a certain point?
It came later. It came later because the whole process was really one of discovery. First of all, discovering the story. So there was really this long process of exploration just to figure out what happened and try to understand from 1450 to 1455 what happened. Yes. And then as I wrote it, it came to me actually kind of, bolt out of the blue one day, maybe halfway through. I mean, it took me 7 years to write this book, which is the exact length of a medieval apprenticeship. And I had known about this conversation that he had with that abbot 30 years later, and I just thought, I wanted him to be able to reflect on the impact of this life-changing technology that he had been such an important part of. And also, there's an emotional story that is, to me, actually the heart of it. It's the tug of war between the young apprentice and the master who he feels betrays him in the end. And just the unresolved feelings that we all have about our parents to some extent, the wounded earlier self. And so he had a lot of things that I wanted him to be able to have an arc, to learn, to look again at the past and try to understand why did it blow up, what happened, what was really going on. But it did come later, and that's why I think it's such a great process. I mean, you have to just stick with it, and not give up. That's the hard part.
Yes. I thought that that structure that Alix uses worked especially well in the end game. In the end of the novel, there's the fair. Of course, we all know that this is going to turn out that they produced the Bible. If we've heard the word Gutenberg, and we know that he was the first printer. So, in a sense, it's like writing the Marie Antoinette story, where everybody knows off with their head at a certain point. There's an advantage to having that hook, in a sense, pull the reader along. But in the end, you really interspersed the conversation about what happened and the success. And I think you were able to make the significance of what happened more accessible to the reader by having this retrospective look at it at the end. And it just seemed to move back and forth between the frame and the fair, which is an exciting and interesting, and it is the party, the culmination event. And I liked how your framework worked.
Well, I have to say, it was really a lot of it was just because I had a fabulous editor who's here tonight, with whom I had this amazing creative Terry Carton from Harvard, and she, we had these really amazing phone calls from London and New York in which we talked about who Peter was and what was happening in his heart, and for me that was the most magical part of the whole process, aside from seeing your book in beautiful print, was that that someone would enter into the book with you and you could work it through.